Discover how a heartwarming act transformed a poor village girl's life. Revealing her amazing courage, Lily stood on the cracked sidewalk outside her home, her heart racing with dreams that soared higher than the rolling hills surrounding her small town. She might have been just a girl from the wrong side of the tracks, but the fire in her eyes threatened to outshine everything around her. Life had dealt her a rough hand, a mother who worked double shifts at the diner just to keep the lights on, and a father haunted by memories of war. And yet, hope flickered in her chest like the flame of a candle against the wind. She wanted more. She wanted to chase her dreams of college, to transform her life and lift her family from financial struggles. But in this quaint town, where sidewalks echoed with whispers and doors held narrow views, she was just seen as that poor village girl. It was suffocating. Every day, she felt the weight of social class prejudice threatening to dim her aspirations. Bound together with her mother's relentless hard work and her father's quiet battles, they were a hard-working family embodying resilience, yet the heartbreak of their circumstances often brought tears to her eyes. Then came the news. Retired Principal Mr. Thompson, a man with a heart of gold, had anonymously sponsored her for a prestigious summer program for gifted students. It felt like a fairy tale, as if the universe conspired to smile upon her. But when the news spread, it felt less like blessings and more like a burden. The townsfolk began to talk. Jealousy and judgment swept over her like a storm cloud. Why her? They whispered, each word punctuated with disdain. Lily's heart sank under the scrutiny. The very kindness meant to uplift her began to feel like a heavy anchor. As she struggled with guilt and expectation, she knew retreating was not an option. She felt something shift inside her, a resolve to confront the growing resentment that simmered beneath the surface of their tiny community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. It was during a pivotal town hall meeting that everything erupted. Neighbors filled the folding chairs, eyes shifting uneasily. The smell of worn wood and old paper clung to the air like an unspoken tension. Some people nodded in support while others shot her sideways glances, their expressions a mix of disbelief and envy. With her voice trembling, she laid bare her struggle. "I am more than the label you've put on me," she declared, each word spilling out like a river breaking free after a storm. "It's not about money. It's about dreams, and we're all allowed to dream." The atmosphere thickened, a pot about to boil over. Lily's heartfelt plea rang deep within the souls of some, while others bristled defensively. This moment captured the very essence of her community, laid bare before everyone. Would they choose to lift each other or wilt under insecurity? Standing there, uncertain yet fierce, she questioned whether the values of hard work still had meaning amidst a world wrapped in biases. There was no turning back now. The fate of her dreams rested in the hands of a town grappling with its own reflection. The murmurs in the town hall seemed to ebb and flow, a mix of shock and contemplation thrumming in the air. As Lily stood rooted to the ground, heart thumping wildly, she noticed Mrs. Smith in the front row. The elderly woman, known for her kind heart but sharp tongue, regarded Lily with a newfound fierceness in her eyes. This was a woman who had seen the world transform countless times and had her fair share of struggles. "Lily, dear," Mrs. Smith's voice cut through the noise, steady and gentle. "You're right. We're all allowed to dream. But how do we help you achieve yours? How do we stand together instead of pulling apart?" The tension shifted a fraction, opening a door for a flicker of hope. Lily blinked rapidly, processing the unexpected support. It was a question that hung in the air, urging others to speak. A man from the back stood up. "You think it's easy for us, too?" he challenged, his face flushed with agitation. "We work hard just to get by. How can we help someone who has been handed a golden ticket?" Lily felt a lump form in her throat. "It's not about the ticket," she replied, her voice stronger now, fueled by adrenaline. It's about believing we can all be something more, even when the odds are against us. More people began to nod, murmurs of agreement weaving through the crowd like the wind through the trees. Maybe this was the spark she needed. Maybe the conversation could shift from jealousy to unity. As the meeting dragged on, each story shared became a balm for the wounds of their community. People slowly opened up, recounting their own dreams that had been stifled by circumstance. By the time the clock struck 9, there was an unmistakable shift to realization that together, they could carve a new path. "Let us create a community scholarship," whispered a voice from the far corner, breaking the tension like a sigh of relief. "One that funds not just Lily, but anyone here who wants a way out." That idea sent ripples through the room. Faces began to light up, exchanging glances that spoke of unification for the first time. They were no longer just neighbors. They were fellow dreamers searching for a way to lift one another up. "Count me in," Lily said, beaming, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Let's make this happen together." The meeting concluded with a sense of purpose lingering in the air. A shared vision of hope stitched together from once scattered dreams, all fueled by courage. As she stepped out into the cool night, Lily felt lighter. The whispers that had weighed so heavily on her began to dissipate like mist under the rising sun. She had ignited a conversation of change, but deep down, she knew they would need to navigate deeper issues. But would this newfound unity be strong enough to withstand the deeper struggles of prejudice and fear? Would the town stand by her when the first obstacles appear on the horizon? With these questions swirling in her mind, Lily took a deep breath, determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Then, as she turned to walk home, she felt a flicker of resolve igniting again in her chest, reminding her that she was no longer just that poor village girl. She was a force for good in her community, and she was ready to fight. What awaited her in the days to come would shape not only her dreams but the entire town. Would it lead to a greater bond or test their unity to its limits? The morning light poured into Lily's bedroom, warming her skin and lighting up the worn wooden floorboards. She stretched, feeling the pull of yesterday's meeting still fresh in her mind. Today marked a new beginning, another chance to disrupt the chains that had held her dream captive for so long. Joy bubbled within her, but so did uncertainty. She dressed quickly, slipping into a blue blouse that reminded her of the summer sky. It was a small reminder that even on the cloudiest days, hope could break through. As she poured herself a cup of coffee, she marveled at how a few words had shifted the atmosphere in the town hall. That spark of unity was now flickering brilliantly, and she was determined to fan the flames. As she walked down the streets that were familiar yet felt different, she noticed children playing and neighbors chatting. The world seemed to vibrate with possibilities. But she couldn't shake the weight of doubts brewing in her mind. What if the excitement waned? What if they didn't see it through? Those questions chased her as she arrived at the community center for her first meeting with a few volunteers eager to set up the scholarship program. Stepping into the room, she took a deep breath, letting the vibrancy inside wash over her. There, sitting around a rustic table, were the very townspeople who had stirred her heart the night before. Lily. They greeted her with warm smiles, each person motivated by a shared purpose. "Thank you all for coming," she said, her hands resting on the table, grounding her. "I believe we can create something beautiful here." The conversation flowed, filled with laughter and determination. Ideas bounced around like fireflies, each one brighter than the last. They discussed how to fund the scholarship and the various outreach methods they could use to involve more community members. It was exhilarating. They were free, coming together as a collective force. Yet, amidst the excitement, the man who had previously challenged Lily stood up again. His brow was furrowed, and a look of concern creased his face. "I want to do this," he started slowly, "but what if no one donates? What if people think it's a waste of money?" The room fell silent, the spark dimming for a moment. It was a valid concern. Lily's heart sank. "We have to believe," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor inside. "Believing is the first step. We can't let fear hold us back. If we show that we care, Others will care too. Slowly, nods began to appear around the table again. Encouragement painted the atmosphere in brighter colors. Later that day, as Lily headed home, she noticed the street decorated with faded posters for local businesses. It was a small town struggling for survival. She had known that. Yet now, somehow, there was a sense of energy pulsating through the community. When she reached her front porch, she paused. The wind rustled the leaves above her, a whispered reminder that change was brewing. The real work was just beginning, and it wouldn't be smooth sailing. Lily reached for her phone, wanting to grab a moment of inspiration while it lingered. She tapped out a message to the group. Let us go door to door, share our dream. Invite them to believe with us. As she hit send and leaned back against the rail, a shadow flickered at the edge of her vision. She turned, her heart racing, as an unexpected figure approached from the dusk, someone who had been a staunch opponent of her dreams. Did they come to challenge her again? The answer loomed, and with it, the question of whether Lily's newfound spark could truly light up the dark corners of their town. Lily's heart raced as the figure stepped into the light. It was Mr. Thompson, the former councilman known for his tough stance on funding any project he deemed impractical. He had made it perfectly clear at last night's meeting that he didn't believe the scholarship program would succeed. Mr. Thompson, she started, feeling a mix of dread and curiosity wash over her. Lily, he interrupted, his voice softening, revealing a layer she hadn't seen before. I need to talk to you. She instinctively backed away from the rail, uncertain about how to navigate this unexpected encounter. Is everything okay? He hesitated, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. The shadows played across his lined face, making him appear older, worn by years of fighting the very community he now approached. I'm not here to challenge you, he finally said, his voice steady. I came to apologize. Surprise flickered in her chest. Apologize? But why? I was wrong to dismiss your idea without understanding your heart behind it. He took a deep breath, visibly struggling with the admission. I've seen so many people in this town lose hope. I thought your dream was too naive, too far-fetched. Lily swallowed, the warmth of his words trickling through her doubt. And now, honestly, he looked down for a moment, gathering his thoughts. I see something different. I see the energy you've sparked. I was the one who was afraid. Afraid of the changes, afraid of what could happen if it didn't work out. The wind rustled the leaves behind him, intertwining their conversation with the promise of change. For a brief moment, she could sense the weight of his fear, mirrored in her own. I'm scared too, she admitted. Every step I take feels like a leap of faith. His expression softened further, and that hint of a smile transformed his face. Then let us leap together. Lily's heart swelled with a mix of hope and disbelief. You want to help? I think I can. I have some connections, and I know people who may be willing to contribute. His voice picked up momentum. I've also managed local businesses for years. I can reach them, show them how impactful this can be for our youth, for our town. As he spoke, a wave of possibility crashed over her, blending with her existing hopes. That would be incredible. But why the change of heart? He ran a hand over his jaw and sighed. I lost my own chance at college. I've carried that regret with me for years. Seeing you fight for this makes me think of my own past, what could have been. Lily felt a connection, a thread weaving through their shared experience. We'll make it work, then. Together. As Mr. Thompson nodded, she felt the spark reigniting between them. It wasn't just for the scholarship, it was about healing, about rebuilding trust. Let us set up a meeting with the business owners, she suggested, excitement rushing through her. Yes, and we'll get a flyer ready for the door-to-door campaign, he agreed, suddenly brimming with purpose. Just as they began brainstorming, laughter erupted from down the street. It was a group of kids playing, their joy infectious. It struck Lily in that moment this was bigger than just a scholarship. It was about creating a space for hope, unity, and a future. As she turned back to Mr. Thompson, she noticed a flicker of doubt in his eyes again. But Lily, he hesitated, what if we fail? Before she could respond, she felt the weight of their shared hopes pressing forward, and she realized that was just another challenge they would face. Whatever came next, she wouldn't be alone. The sun dipped lower in the sky, painting it in hues of orange and purple. A thought crossed her mind, and she couldn't help but ask, what if we invite the whole community to share their stories, to really feel what we're fighting for? His brow furrowed, the wheels turning. That could be powerful. As they began to sketch out plans, uncertainty lingered like the last glow of the setting sun. Little did they know, the real challenge was just around the corner, one that could threaten everything they were about to build. Would they be ready to stand strong together against it? As the sun set behind the horizon, painting the sky with vivid strokes of orange and purple, Lily felt an overwhelming sense of purpose swell inside her. She stood beside Mr. Thompson, both of them ignited by the possibility they had just dreamed up. Sharing stories could give their cause more than just visibility. It could pull the town together in a way it had never seen before. Let us start planning, Lily urged, nearly bouncing on her toes with excitement. We'll need a date, a location, and we definitely should think about themes for the stories people want to share. Mr. Thompson nodded, his earlier doubts fading. What about the town square? It's a central place. We could set up some chairs. A small stage, perfect. She clapped her hands, envisioning the scene. And we can make it a community event. Food trucks. Games for the kids, let us make it a festival. It'll draw people in. His expression brightened. I love it. We can create flyers that highlight not just the scholarship, but why we need it. The more personal the stories, the better. With each idea they bounced around, the warmth of hope wrapped around them like a blanket. They began sketching a rough outline of the day's activities. Speeches from community leaders, a talent show featuring local kids, and perhaps even an open mic for townsfolk to share their own stories. The more they talked, the more Lily felt excitement bubbling up inside her. But as their plans became more solidified, a gnawing concern crept into her mind. Organizing such an event was no small feat, especially with the skepticism that still lingered from the council meeting. The fear of failure loomed over her like a shadow, but she chose to push it aside for now. We should set a date soon. The sooner we start inviting people, the better, Mr. Thompson suggested, his gaze flickering with determination. Maybe in 2 weeks? Lily proposed, trying to keep her voice steady. That sounds reasonable. Gives us time to gather support. But just as she felt clarity wash over her, her phone buzzed in her pocket, shaking her back to reality. She fished it out, her heart sinking when she saw that it was her mother. I need to take this, she said, stepping a few paces away. Of course, Mr. Thompson replied, resuming his notes. Hi, Mom, Lily said, trying to mask the tension that built up inside her. Lily, we need to talk. Her mother's voice was strained, laced with an urgency that made Lily's stomach churn. Is everything okay? She asked, the worry evident in her tone. There are rumors at work about cutbacks. They might be letting people go. And I might be one of them, her mother said, her voice cracking just enough for Lily to hear the fear behind the words. I'm going to help with a community event soon. Maybe we can. Lily, this is bigger than that. I need to know I can count on you. Lily felt the weight of her mother's fears pressing down on her. But we're doing something important here. I really think it can help sometimes. Sweetie, we have to take care of our own first, her mother said gently. Don't lose sight of what's at stake. Lily hung up. The flicker of hope she felt moments earlier now dimmed. She looked back at Mr. Thompson, who was still deep in thought, unaware of the crisis unfolding in her own home. Steeling herself, she made her way back. Mr. Thompson, there's something I need to discuss, she began, dread pooling in her stomach. But before she could delve deeper, a loud commotion approached from down the street, drawing their attention. A group of townspeople gathered on the corner, their faces a mixture of excitement and confusion. What's happening? Mr. Thompson asked, his brows knitting together. Lily's heart raced again, not knowing what to expect. I have no idea. As they stepped closer, the crowd's chatter grew louder, an unexpected tension igniting in the air. Whatever it was, it felt like a storm was brewing just as they were beginning to build their dreams. With uncertainty swirling around her, Lily wondered what this new development could mean for her plans, and the community she was striving to unite. Would they be able to weather the storm that was clearly on the horizon? As they approached the crowd, Lily could sense a shift in the energy, as if the air had thickened with anticipation. People huddled closely, their whispers growing louder, buzzing with rumors and excitement. She caught snippets of conversation. You won't believe who showed up. And I heard they're giving away what's happening. Lily shouted to a woman nearby, her heart pounding. The woman turned, her eyes wide. It's the mayor. He's here to announce something big. Lily exchanged a glance with Mr. Thompson, each of them fueling the other's curiosity. They squeezed through the throng, finally reaching the front where a makeshift platform had been set up. The mayor, a charismatic figure with a booming voice, stood at the center, addressing the crowd with a flourish. People of Oak Ridge, I have come bearing exciting news, he declared, arms raised as if he were conducting an orchestra. The crowd erupted in cheers, but Lily's heart raced for an entirely different reason. What if this affects our plans? She whispered to Mr. Thompson, anxiety curling in her stomach. Let us just listen, he replied, his eyes fixed on the mayor. The mayor continued, thanks to a generous donation from a local business, we will be launching a new community fund aimed at supporting projects exactly like the one Lily and Mr. Thompson are organizing. He paused, the crowd buzzing with speculation and excitement. Lily felt a mix of elation and fear. This could be the break they needed, but what if it diverted attention away from their efforts? Just then, the mayor mentioned their scholarship initiative directly, which made her heart skip. That's right, friends. We want more stories from you. We want to ensure every child in Oak Ridge has access to education, and we need you to share your experiences to build this community fund. Join us at the town square in 2 weeks. The crowd cheered again, the energy spiraling, lifting her spirits. But doubt lingered in the back of her mind. What if they take all the spotlight? She thought, her resolve now mixed with an unsettling undercurrent of competition. As Mr. Thompson's face beamed with hope, Lily tried to smile back, but anxiety tugged at her. We can still make this our event, she said, half convincing herself. Once the rally wrapped up, people moved away, still buzzing with the words they just heard. Can you believe it? This could really help us, Mr. Thompson exclaimed, his excitement infectious. Lily nodded, her mind racing. Yes, but we need to find a way to make our event distinct. We want heartfelt connections, our own stories. Just then, Lily spotted her friend Sarah in the crowd, her face pale and drawn. As she approached, the light-hearted chatter around them faded to a dull hum. Sarah, what's wrong? Lily asked, concerned. After glancing around as if searching for hidden eyes, Sarah leaned in closer. I just got an email from my college. They're changing the scholarship criteria. A lot of students might not qualify anymore. People are panicking. Lily's stomach twisted at the thought. This could hit so many families hard, hers included. But we have to help, she murmured, feeling that familiar spark igniting in her again. We can bring awareness to those stories. But the mayor's initiative, Sarah said hesitantly, can coexist. Maybe it'll even push our event further. Lily replied. Determination pushed through her anxiety. We just need to be strategic. Mr. Thompson overheard, stepping forward. How can we pivot this to ensure we're still at the forefront? He looked from Sarah to Lily, encouragement sparkling in his eyes. The three stood there, hearts racing, a new mission unfolding. As plans started to take shape, Lily felt hope creeping back in. She could feel that familiar fire stirring. But just as they were ready to dive back into action, an ominous hush swept through the crowd again. There, standing at the edge of the square, was a familiar face, one Lily hadn't expected to see. One that brought a flash of worry to her heart. Why is he here? She thought. Would he put everything at risk? As he stepped forward, she felt a chill race down her spine. What was he planning to do next, and would it throw everything into chaos? Lily's heart raced as she squinted toward the familiar figure pushing through the crowd. It was Jake, her former classmate. He hadn't been back to Oak Ridge since graduation, and his unexpected presence filled her with unease. The last time she saw him, they'd had an argument over the future of their small town. Jake was always one to chase opportunities in the city, while Lily held onto the hope of improving their community. "Do you think he's here for the announcement?" Mr. Thompson asked, his brow furrowed. "I don't know, but we need to keep an eye on him," Lily replied, feeling a knot form in her stomach. She didn't trust him. Not since the last thing he said before leaving for bigger dreams. As Jake approached the platform, the mayor waved him over. Murmurs filled the air, mixing excitement with trepidation. The crowd parted for him like they were welcoming a rock star. He had always had that charm, but now, standing there, it felt like he held the town's collective breath in his hands. "Thank you, Mayor," Jake said, his voice steady but soft enough for the crowd to lean in closer. "I came back because I believe in Oak Ridge, and I believe in the potential we have here. We need to harness what's happening in our town, and I have a vision to share." As he spoke, Lily felt a spark of alarm. He was a great talker, able to weave his words into captivating stories. But she knew him too well. His ambitions could easily overshadow their grassroots efforts. "We could form a partnership," he continued, gazing into the crowd. "Invest in innovative ways to raise funds. Together, we can create something unique for this place." Lily exchanged glances with Sarah and Mr. Thompson. They could see the uncertainty in each other's eyes. Was this proposal a threat or an opportunity? Would Jake's grand plans overshadow their heartfelt initiative or actually help it grow? "This isn't just about money. It's about the stories behind every individual in this town," he added, his voice rising with passion. "I want to spotlight those stories, to inspire others to join our cause." Lily felt torn as she listened. Part of her wanted to support the idea of collaboration, to see positive change in Oak Ridge, while another part was adamant about protecting their own organization's vision and warmth. "What's your angle, Jake?" Lily called out, cutting through the electrified air. The crowd turned, surprise lighting their faces. He met her gaze, a flicker of tension passing between them. "The simple, Lily. We can either fight each other or work together. You remember how hard it was to get people involved last time? I remember how quickly you ran to chase your dreams without a backward glance." She shot back, unafraid to voice her feelings before the crowd. The exchange hung between them like a thick fog. They both knew their history, the passion that had fueled arguments before. The crowd tensed, sensing the brewing conflict, caught between loyalty to Lily and curiosity about Jake. "What if we combine our efforts?" Jake proposed, his tone smoother now, almost conciliatory. "My connections can boost what you're doing. Imagine the impact we could have together." Lily felt pressure mounting. Being around Jake had stirred something inside her, a fierce determination, but also the fear that they could lose everything their initiative stood for. The stories, the individual struggles, the very reason she had started this journey felt precarious under Jake's slick promises. "Let us think about this," Sarah began. But Lily shook her head, eyes locked on Jake. "No, our stories are our own," she stated firmly, glancing at Mr. Thompson for support. The crowd shifted as whispers grew louder again, uncertainty gripping them. Would her rejection push everyone away? Or could she find a way to safeguard their mission while navigating Jake's ambition? Underneath the tension, hope flickered, masking her fear. Jake was back in town, but so was she, and she wasn't going to back down without a fight. As the mayor stepped forward to break the tension, Lily's mind raced. What unforeseen collaboration was brewing with Jake, and how could she ensure their own mission stood strong against his charm? The answer felt elusive, but deep down, she knew it was time to take a stand. With eyes set on the crowd and determination surging through her veins, she prepared to fight for their cause. Little did she know, a confrontation loomed just around the corner, one that would ultimately decide the fate of their venture and question what trust really meant in Oak Ridge. A heavy silence fell over the crowd as the mayor shifted awkwardly, trying to defuse the tension that had sparked between Lily and Jake. He cleared his throat, glancing back and forth between the two former classmates. The unease was palpable, like a thick fog obscuring the path ahead. "Let us take a moment to breathe," he said, his voice steady but strained. We're all here for the same reason, to support our community and each other. But his words barely made a dent in the electric atmosphere. Jake's eyes were still locked on Lily with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Her heart hammered in her chest. She could feel the weight of the crowd's attention pressing down on both of them. "Lily," Jake said, his voice low but firm. "I'm not just back for a fleeting moment. I want to invest in this town and in our history together. You know, we have something special. Why can't we bring our separate dreams into one?" Lily felt her resolve waver for a moment, the memories of their shared youthful hopes crashing over her like waves. They once dreamed of transforming their town together, sketching plans in her attic with colored pencils. But that was then, before he left to chase his dreams in the city, leaving her with the echoes of his promises. "It's not that simple," she replied, her voice gaining strength. "You've changed, Jake. You talk about the town's stories like they're just assets to profit from. But these are people's lives." Her words rang out, echoing in the hearts of her neighbors. A ripple of agreement stirred in the crowd. They knew what was at stake. The heart of Oakridge nestled within every smile and sorrow shared among them. Would they trust Jake again? Would they allow him to reshape their community under the guise of opportunity? The stakes felt higher than ever. Jake's expression softened for a moment, but he quickly masked it with determination. "I get it, I really do. But times are changing. If we don't adapt, we risk losing what we hold dear. I want to help bring Oakridge to the forefront." "By what cost?" Lily shot back. "By losing our essence? Our stories aren't for sale, Jake. They're our lifeblood." She could see her friends nodding in agreement. Jake's words may have held promise, but Lily's convictions rang truer. As tension swirled in the air, Mr. Thompson stepped in again. "Let us revisit the essence of this gathering. We came together to support our community's growth. There's power in unity, but also in being true to who we are." Lily felt a surge of gratitude for Mr. Thompson. He was a steadfast support, a reminder of the community spirit that had fueled their dreams. "Exactly," she exclaimed, feeling emboldened. "Unity doesn't mean compromising our values. We need to lift each other up without losing what makes us, well, us." Jake's expression darkened, frustration flickering across his face. "Fine. If you want to cling to your old ways, I can't force you to see the bigger picture. But don't blame me when this town stagnates." The air hung thick with tension as Jake stepped back, and Lily felt her breath hitch. Did she let him get to her? Was she truly prepared to go against someone who could elevate them all? The crowd buzzed, caught in the crossfire of ideals. They wanted progress, but they also wanted to hold on to the warmth of familiarity. As Jake slinked away, an unexpected hush nestled over the gathering. All eyes turned to Lily, still holding her breath. She felt raw, exposed. "Lily, what's next?" Sarah whispered, a hint of encouragement in her voice. Lily's mind raced. She had always wanted to protect their stories, but now she faced the daunting reality of Jake's return. Could she lead the community without accepting his proposition? How could she promote their mission while keeping her voice strong against the currents? With newfound urgency, Lily stepped forward to face the eager crowd. She knew the stakes were higher than she'd ever anticipated, but also knew they had the power to shape their own fate. "Let us gather our stories," she declared, her voice unwavering. "Let us show Jake what Oakridge really stands for. Together, our voices are stronger than ever." Cheers erupted from the crowd. Determination pulsed in her veins, but doubt lingered, whispering that sacrifices awaited. As the crowd rallied around her, she caught a glimpse of Jake lingering by the sidelines, his expression unreadable. Could they really unite and safeguard their essence? Or was that unity now forever fractured? The uncertainty hung thick in the air, a challenge set before her. What would be the cost of that unity? And would she be able to keep the heart of Oakridge alive amidst the swirling ambitions? Only time would tell as the next chapter of their fight unfolded. Lily stood tall as the crowd cheered around her, their voices a melodic cascade that wrapped her in warmth. Yet, beneath that warmth lay a chill of uncertainty. She searched the faces in the crowd, seeing hope and anticipation tangled with worry. Would her plans resonate beyond this moment? Would the town rally behind her vision? Or would Jake's words linger in their minds, whispering promises of change? As she stepped away from the podium, adrenaline coursed through her. She turned to Sarah, who was beaming with pride, her eyes sparkling with confidence. "That felt good," Sarah exclaimed. "You really got through to them." "Did I?" Lily replied, attempting to mask her own doubts with a smile. "What if they still see Jake as the knight in shining armor, ready to save us from obscurity?" Sarah shook her head vehemently. "No. You reminded them of who we are, of the stories that matter. But we need a plan, Lily. We can't just trust our voices alone." "Agreed," Lily said, glancing over her shoulder where Jake lingered, still as a statue, arms crossed and face set in a scowl. "We need to write down our stories. Gather them all. We need something tangible to show that our history is worth preserving." The crowd started to disperse slowly, a few familiar faces approaching to offer encouragement. "Could we maybe have a community storytelling night?" suggested James, the librarian, who had always been a gentle force in her life. "I could arrange chairs in the town hall," and Lily felt her heart leap. "Yes, that's perfect, James. We can set a date, collect stories from everyone capturing who we are, what we've fought for, and what we want to become." A gathering of murmurs filled the space as others caught on to her idea, their eagerness palpable. "Let us hold a potluck too," added Mrs. Hargrove, the local baker. "Everyone can bring a dish that represents their family's history. Food and stories. What a combination!" Lily chuckled, envisioning the wide array of flavors that would reflect their diverse backgrounds. "It'll be a celebration of Oak Ridge," she said, the warmth of excitement igniting her heart again. But as the plans began to take shape, a sense of vulnerability washed over her. What if Jake took this opportunity to breach their walls? She had fought so hard to defend Oak Ridge's heart, but doubts were sneaking in. That evening, while she sat at the old wooden table in her kitchen, the moonlight streaming in through the window, she picked up her pen. She scribbled out the details of the storytelling night, but paused as she wrote Jake's name in the margin, a shadow of conflict tugging at her heart. Could she really face him again? The fire of ambition mixed with nostalgia felt overwhelming at times. She had pictured Oak Ridge blossoming, but now it seemed to spin into chaos. Her phone buzzed unexpectedly, breaking her reverie. A text from Sarah. "We need to talk about Jake. He has been reaching out." Lily's breath caught in her throat. What could Jake want now? Was he here to challenge her? Or did he harbor another agenda? As doubt knotted in her stomach, she knew one thing for sure. This moment the clash of dreams would define more than just their paths. It would carve the future of Oak Ridge itself. Taking a deep breath, Lily replied, "Where and when?" As she sent the message, a new realization settled in. The confrontation was inevitable. But before she could delve deeper into her thoughts, her resolve flared. Oak Ridge had always been about community, about making decisions together. The next chapter was unfolding before her, filled with tension and possibility. Would she be able to confront Jake with her truth? And in doing so, could she save the history and heart of the town she loved? Lily's heart beat like a drum as she stood in the town hall, surrounded by familiar faces, her stomach churning with excitement and anxiety. Today was the day they would gather stories, fuel their passion, and showcase the heart of Oak Ridge. She glanced at the tables lined with delicious dishes, each one holding a story of its own, a potluck of memories woven in flavors. As the townsfolk began to filter in, she felt a rush of determination wash over her. This was their moment, a chance to solidify the bond that they had rekindled through struggle and hope. Mr. Thompson stood at the front, welcoming people with warmth, stirring the spirit of unity that they all so desperately needed. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he called out, his voice ringing clear. "We're here to share our stories and enrich our community's future. This isn't just about one scholarship. It's about all of us." Lily took a deep breath, her resolve firm as she moved to the center, ready to join her community in this celebration. Each face radiated with a mix of anticipation and camaraderie, and Lily felt her own worries begin to dissipate. It wasn't long before voices rose in joyful unison. Laughter echoed around the room as stories flowed from tales of hardship to triumph. Everyone slowly opened their hearts. Lily couldn't help but smile, absorbing the rich tapestry of emotions weaving around her. For the first time, she saw not just a community but a family. But amid the warmth, a familiar shadow darkened the doorway. Jake stood there, looking somewhat out of place. His charm seemed muted, his usually confident demeanor replaced with something softer vulnerability. Perhaps. The townsfolk instinctively grew quiet, eyeballing the newcomer before shifting uncertainly. Lily's heart raced. This was the moment she had dreaded, the confrontation she hadn't prepared for. But the atmosphere, filled with courageous stories, reminded her that they were more than just frightened individuals. They were a collective strength woven together by the fabric of their experiences. Taking a steadying breath, she stepped toward Jake, her heart pounding. "You came," she said, her voice steady but cautious. "I didn't want to miss this," he replied, his gaze sincere. "I've been thinking, and maybe I was too quick to push my ideas on you." Lily felt the weight of his words, the sincerity tugging at her. "We're committed to sharing our stories and uplifting our town together, Jake. That's what unites us." A flicker of uncertainty crossed his face. "I understand that now. I didn't realize how deep the roots of this community run. It's powerful." She sensed a shift, and the tension in the room began to soften, the crowd's focus shifting to them. Jake continued, "What if I shared a story today? I'd like to give back, to show what Oakridge means to me now." The crowd shifted uneasily. Would they accept him after everything? Lily felt the tension rise but knew that every shared story held the potential for healing. And so she nodded. "You should. This is about all of us." Taking a step back, she allowed him to take the floor. As he began to speak, Jake opened up about his journey, his regrets about leaving Oakridge, the disconnection he felt with the very community that had shaped him. The room fell silent, engrossed by the depth of his honesty. Lily watched as the townsfolk reacted. Frowns turned to understanding, then to empathy. Just as her own heart opened, they began to bond over shared experiences of leaving and longing, of the melodies of home. And then something remarkable happened. Someone from the crowd called out, voicing a vulnerability of their own, and another joined in. The floodgates opened. One by one, the townspeople began to share their own stories, linking their lives with threads of dreams, struggles, and aspirations. As laughter and tears mingled in the air, Lily felt her fears fade, replaced by a burgeoning sense of hope. They weren't just lifting up one individual. They were elevating their entire community, reaffirming who they were in the face of adversity. By the end of the night, hearts were full and stomachs satisfied. The room pulsed with new resolve. "Let us make this a regular gathering," suggested Mrs. Hargrove, prompting a chorus of agreements. Lily beamed at Jake, who looked just as astonished by the evening's unfolding. "I think we reached them," he said, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "Together, this will only grow," she replied, feeling the warmth of unity brim within her. As the event concluded, hope whipped through the air. Their community stood stronger than before, hearts intertwined, ready to face any obstacle ahead. Walking home, a gentle breeze wrapped around Lily, whispering sweet promises of tomorrow. She let out a soft laugh as the moon illuminated her path. The doubt that once crept around her had transformed, replaced by a radiant certainty that they could take on the future together as one. Now, more than ever, she believed they had ignited the flame of change. Oakridge would not only survive, it would thrive, fueled by the power of unity and the incredible strength of their shared stories. With courage ignited and hope soaring, she was ready to fight for their dreams to rise together and transform their town into a vibrant tapestry of dreams fulfilled. This was just the beginning. And as she reached her front porch, Lily knew in her heart that they were indeed bound for greatness, ready to transform Oakridge into a shining beacon of resilience. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.